Right. I'm here with Amy right now. She's joined me again. This whole video has all changed, and so we're starting the video off now, Amy, even though I probably say hello to Amy later on, but this one's been done afterwards. But I've decided to put this one at the front because it just so interested me. You know, lately we've done those videos on Australia. Well, I did, didn't I, Amy, about the dingo wall. And
yes.
You know, when you look at old maps of Australia, they always have them joined to Antarctica. I don't know how they've done it and how they've covered it up and convinced people, obviously, not to go there, or people just don't realise they're not going there. I don't know how they've done that. But in all the old maps, it was attached to Antarctica. And then what it is these people are looking at land 25 miles away. And it kind of does annoy me a bit, Amy, because we've just done the bit where they've told us it's a Cold War. This is going to be somewhere in the video, this bit, so stay tuned. It's an old video from Sun and Moon, but they've told us all we're in a Cold War, where at the same time they've got Operation Corona going on in Russia with a satellite system with the Chinese and the Russians, while they're telling us we're all in a Cold War. So you can never understand or get it all because there's so much conflicting information. But when we find bits of information, I often put it out, because when it contradicts, that's when I do it. But these people are on the date line, so where they're standing is where time changes. So what they're looking at is Big Dolomite, and Big Dolomite is Russian supposedly, so 24 hours ahead of them.
Yeah.
Because me and Amy, I've had to tape it again because I lost all this. This is what it was about. I taped it all. And then they talked about people coming over to see them, that they came on skin boots. And then they explained that although they've come from, not this island, over there, 25 miles away, and they do supposedly speak this Russian and other language, they don't really understand it anymore. But if that's where they've come from, why wouldn't they understand it?
Right, that doesn't add up.
Yeah, but this land, which we think is so far away, could be right in front of us, but because of what they've told us, we just don't realise. I don't know, but I just don't think that, I just don't know. If it's that close, why don't they have all the wars there and get it over and done with? Because the big war seems between, I'm sorry Amy, I love you Amy, between America and Russia, instead of drawing the whole world in, they don't even really mention Alaska. Why don't you just do it there?
Yeah, that would make a lot more sense.
They've got 60 miles, whatever it is, to kill each other.
Yeah.
Get it done. Go on. You don't have to involve any of us.
Exactly. So that doesn't add up. It just doesn't fit in either. Because we always picture it going across the whole world.
But remember, supposedly, but don't forget they've lied about history, Russia used to own Alaska and they sold it to America for something like, I don't remember now, 19 million, 25 million, whatever it was. They sold it to America. But we've only got their history and we know that it's a load of rubbish. But I just thought it was very bit weird that they said that they don't understand the language where they came from.
I know, I think that's really weird too.
But these people then are saying that they've come from that land.
Yeah, that's right. So it doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, so basically, in my mind, I was, obviously we had Australia and I was looking at Little Dolomite and Big Dolomite and the fact that there's land behind it. In this video, the rest of it is about Little Dolomite, Big Dolomite, and a few other things are added to this footage. So please watch it. It really was about this, because maybe the extra land isn't as far away as you think it is. But in there's other bits, because once another bit played, I thought, oh no, I'll just leave that in, but it's not really related to this. But I did put a bit in when I went to Holland, because that just blows my mind, because I was on a 1 hour 10-minute journey from Southend, which is below Brighton, London, but it's still called a London airport, but it's not really near London, it's probably about an hour away. But it's called London Southend, little planes go from there, really. The smaller planes, propeller planes. They've still got jet engines, but they're propeller ones. The flight said an hour and 10 minutes. And when we were landing, she said we were 35 minutes early, and then she changed it to 40 minutes. We'll take 40 minutes off an hour and 10. What's that, Amy?
Oh, like 50 minutes or something?
It's less than that, isn't it? You've got to take 40 minutes off an hour and 10. So that's 60, 50, that's 70. What is that? That's, how many minutes is it? I can't even add up now. I'm going to have to write it down. I'm doing this quite late.
Yes, what was it, 60 minutes?
No, she took 40 minutes off of 110.
Okay.
So that would be about 50 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah, so how could... I couldn't... She said, oh, it's the winds. We had a good headwind. But how could we... I on the little video I'm showing, I show you that we would have to be travelling about 500 miles an hour because it was 300 and something miles, and we did it in 40 minutes. 40, 45, 40, 50 minutes we did it.
Yeah.
So that's also a bit interesting because we obviously just don't know what we just don't know nothing. I mean, how can we make up nearly half the journey?
I know.
Yeah, 10 minutes, 15 minutes maybe, but like 40 minutes came off the journey. You know, I couldn't believe it because it said an hour and 10 minutes, and suddenly she's going, "Can you fasten seatbelts?" I'm going, "Why? Have we got turbulence or something?" She says, "No, we're landing."
Yeah, well.
But anyway, so basically, I've put that in because I thought that was kind of relevant. Again, it's just all in this realm that we live in. But let's play. Amy, have you got anything to say?
It's just incredible how much they have covered everything up, and we just don't know what is what. It's really hard to put anything together with all the snippets of information and everything. It's really hard to figure it all out, and with the land and everything.
It is, and we're not supposed to, but that Union Jack does fit neatly on the top of that map. And even it says the military, it's referred to as a star map, but it looks a bit like a butterfly. And then I'll say it quickly. Australia, above Australia, and obviously below South America, on Google Maps, if you go and have a look at the sea, you'll see they both had slippages going the opposite directions. So that could be where the Great Flood happens, or what would that have been? An enormous great whatever happened, and it went doing, and it, I don't know what happened, but you can see it in Google Maps. But anyway, we're going to go on now, Amy. Anything else to say, my darling?
I think that's all, Karen.
267 steps.
200.
Huh.
I mean, 2,768 feet. Walking.
Oh wow, that's a lot.
1,400 feet tall, somewhere around there.
Huh. Do any people live on that rock?
Yep, you see the highest place up there?
Yeah.
They're watching us right now, and there's a shitload of border guards over there.
Oh, they're watching?
I wouldn't go over there. They'll get their dogs loose, and they'll come ski after you. They're fast.
So they're up on top of the mountain, huh?
Yep, and they go down it in minutes. They're going down that slope.
Mm-hmm.
There's our fast bunch of young men over there.
So they're actually Russians or the natives over there?
Military.
The military. Oh, okay.
They probably brought the locals mainland.
Oh, okay.
They used to. Before.
They used to have locals.
Do you have any relatives on that side?
They moved them all,
Yeah,
yep.
Where the...
Llewellyn or Larentia. That's where all our family got
probably
moved to.
didn't you?
Some of them are there, yeah.
Huh. But how often do you don't go there now, yeah?
No.
Maybe this year
Nope.
they're talking about it this year, huh? Last year we had people from Larentia come over here on skin boots.
Ski boots?
Skin boots.
Oh,
made from warside.
From what?
Warside from the neck, female.
Okay. Cool.
He's a male because of the lumps on the neck, huh?
Oh. What is it called?
Larentia.
That's in Russia?
Yeah.
How far is that away from here?
Oh,
Like a day?
about 24 miles from here, that direction. Yeah.
So they came here last year, huh? And you got to see them. That's nice.
Yep. They're here at least, what, 4 days?
Huh. So they speak, what language?
Siberian Yupik.
Yupik.
Mm-hmm.
And Russian also?
Mm-hmm.
Huh. But you don't understand Russian, yeah?
No.
Huh. How are you related to them? Just like cousins?
My grandfather was born over there.
Huh.
My mom's dad.
Man.
My dad's dad was born over there too, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Your dad's dad? Grandfather, man.
He's my uncle from my mom's side.
Oh, okay.
Oh, I know.
Oh, here we go, let's put this bit in. Now, Amy and I had actually finished the video, and then I thought, oh my god, look. When I did a video on Russia, when they were well up there, where it's minus 50, I can't remember, Yucca, or whatever it's called, the place. When they got off the plane, because there was no heating in the tunnel from the plane to the airport, as they got out the plane, it took their breath away because it was so cold. They were all coughing. It just didn't feel right because the air was so cold and crisp there because it's so cold. But anyway, so they're out in Alaska. You can see all the snow on the mountains. And they're supposedly out on the date line. And look, there's no cold breath coming out of their mouths. And they're not wearing gloves. Amy can't see this bit, but they are not wearing gloves, Amy. What do you reckon of that?
It sounds like maybe it's a staged picture. Or
You're a bit
something.
lower now. Do you see that? I watched it as it was real, but we did say, like, these are supposed to be natives on Little Dolomite, telling you they've come from Big Dolomite over there. But you don't know if these aren't soldiers or military people playing parts. Let's make a village there.
Oh, sure.
I mean, I'd like to believe that these are real people and they do live there, but he hasn't got gloves on, and there's no coldness coming out of their mouths.
Yes, that's very suspicious.
And we're watching the video, so should we carry on, Amy? We just wanted to point that out.
Oh, yes, Karen. Good catch.
So if I had binoculars, I could see them, huh?
Yeah, yeah, if they're up there today, you could see them.
Yep.
You see a glitter
Oh, yeah.
from the sunlight, the reflection, their windows open. They're starting to open it, you'll see it.
Diomede. There's little and large, and here we go.
We thought we'd send Gary Tuckman to actually find the spot where Russia is right next to our state, where you can see Russia. It's a small, remote island, there it is on the map, whose residents are, frankly, somewhat surprised to suddenly be in the headlines. Gary Tuckman is there. Gary.
This is the island, a piece of Alaska that Governor Sarah Palin cites as evidence of her foreign policy experience. No streets, no cars, no airstrip. A helicopter is the only practical way to get here. Nome is the nearest city on the mainland, Anchorage 550 miles away.
This is the city of Diomede, Alaska, on an island known as Little Diomede, about 25 miles off the western Alaska coast. This is basically a rock plopped in the Bering Sea. Only about 150 people live on the entire island. There are no hospitals, no hotels, no restaurants. And what's most unique about it is this. This is the Bering Sea, the Bering Straits. A half-mile in front of me is the international date line. And this rock in front of me, that is the nation of Russia. Right now it's Tuesday afternoon in the United States. There in Russia, it's Wednesday afternoon.
The smaller island in front is Little Diomede, and then the division between western and eastern hemispheres, with Russia's big Diomede Island only 2.5 miles behind it. Since World War II, it's been a Soviet and now Russian military installation. 20 miles in the background, you can see the Russian Siberian mainland. 20 miles in the background, you can see the Russian Siberian mainland.
Well, as we're going to find out in a minute, aren't we, Amy? Russia is such a threat that in the Cold War, the soldiers, and they had technology there, and they were re-equipping Russia while telling everybody we're in a Cold War, nearly at war. They're over there helping the Russians get this, whatever it's, we know it's not, well, it's balloons if anything, but you know, it's not what they're saying it is, but they were putting some system in and helping them. And at the same time, we're kind of worried about one world order and what it means. We are actually in it, but how could we really have it if we're fighting all the time?
Yeah, that's right. I know that Putin is a big player in the New World Order.
And Charles.
Yes, and Charles. They were at the World Economic Forum.
There's the little, what's the names?
Yeah. So they'll have their New World Order. I think maybe all the fighting is just front.
What to make you think that it would never happen, but that's what we're in, and that's why the United, this. I'm not sure when we're putting this video in, if I've put some in or it's coming, but that's why this Union Jack fits all over it. I mean, I don't know. Yeah. Maybe they are looking at Russia. Who knows? But I felt that they're just looking at other land, to be honest.
Yes, exactly. I think that could be, yeah.
But we don't know, as per usual. But we're gonna put this bit of video on, because what she's going to do is say, oh yes, we have a few programs going on with Russia, but because of that country and obviously the security of the American state of Little Dolomite, they're looking at it that way, but it's all a load of rubbish.
Yeah,
because
I think so.
In the Cold War, which went on for many years, they were putting systems and doing things with American or maybe UN's, whatever they were in Russia doing this system. And this bit of video coming up in this bit here is to show you, it's documents that they've released in the last couple of years. I made the video a couple of years ago. Carry on, Amy.
Yes. Well, and like we said before, you would think if there was going to be a war, it would be right there in Alaska and Russia, because they're right.
Yeah, I mean, they're pretty damn close to each other if that's the case.
Yeah.
I mean, I actually think they're looking at more land, and there's such, on the star map, there's such a big area of land missing. But with the slippages, and we realise we've had some kind of world flood, and we've been then built on top of it. You know, I don't know, but what a strange place to put the timeline right through there.
That's true, yes.
And I was just thinking that land's a lot closer than we think it is, but even if it's not, and even if it's Russia, you know, someone said how ludicrous to build a bridge across there, and I think, not that I know for sure, because who knows, but I think this bit of Russia is quite, there's not that many towns in this bit, it's hundreds of thousands of miles big, but it doesn't have millions of towns. So obviously, you know, like Moscow's well over here, so if it, you know, it's a long way to go to put a bridge across.
Oh yes.
But it's really strange that whenever we talk about anything like the Cold War or wars with or around Russia, do they ever take you to this place, Little Dolomite and Big Dolomite? Because this is where it would happen, where they could seize each other. It never happens, does it? In fact, when you're looking at it, apart from them saying there's a few people on that island, which when we did it a few years ago there wasn't, there isn't any military or anything there. I mean, I don't know if you actually tried to sail across there what would happen, but there isn't any that you could see. There's not like a ship going up and down all the time or anything.
Yeah, as you say, the military is there. I think it's in the Big Diomede Island, but the Little Diomede has a few people.
Yeah.
But they can't over there.
I would love to be able to get across there and think, am I in Russia? Am I really in Russia? Or am I in another piece of land? I'd like to know.
Yeah, that's a good point.
But it looks pretty cold up there in the winter. I wouldn't like to live up there.
Me neither.
Yeah, anyway, we're going to carry on now. We're going to listen to that bit of video, Amy, yeah?
Okay, sure, yes.
Have you ever been involved with any negotiations, for example, with the Russians?
We have trade missions back and forth. We do. It's very important when you consider even national security issues with Russia as...
Yes, found myself making another video again. I can't help it. I see things and I've got to then just show you the other bits. Maybe it's bit by bit on the channel, But, you know, that's what you do when you're sort of a, well, I suppose I'm a bit of a researcher, but anyway. Just adding that this is a Bat Think video. I've just put this video out, well, it will have been out on Sun and Moon, but I just, when I'm watching this, I know what it means to me, because I've been seeing it for a long time. And when this woman talks and she says all the things she does and there's no enemies, I knew. And so you imagine people who stand there and fight for something that's not real because they're working together. Anyway, let's get back onto this video, and then obviously we're playing the video I made a couple of years ago. But anyway, let's carry on. So I'm going to read these words, okay? And then I'm going to play a video afterwards that I made in 2020. And at the point I made that video, I was a little bit shocked because I was thinking, what do you mean they were doing this project with the Russians? You know, like it was all a bit new then, where it isn't new now. It's what I tell everybody, that they all work together. I mean, even looking at this bit of video here, you'll see that there is the presidential eagle, and there is the double eagle of Russia. See that they're eagles, look at their feet. The only difference is the Russian one, the one on the right, they have a crown, whereas America doesn't have a crown. But obviously people in Europe and all that, they have crowns on the top. And see this red emblem? You can also find this in America, this emblem here. It'll be on American stuff as well. Anyway, let's read all the words. It says, in a few words, there is no such thing as a Soviet technology. Almost all, perhaps 90 to 95%, came directly or indirectly from the United States and its allies. In effect, the United States and the NATO countries have built the Soviet Union, its industrial and military capabilities. This massive construction job has taken 50 years, since the revolution in 1919. It has been carried out through trade and sale of plants and plant equipment and technical assistance, and obviously that's the person's name. But you see, I've said all along, these people work together. And that's what the second part of this video is about. Because it shows that when we thought we were in a Cold War with Russia, they were doing this great big satellite system, and you're going to be amazed at the name of it. But that's in the next part of the video, which I'm going to start in a moment. But I just want you to realise, these people, all of them, work for the same person. You know, the one at the top, whoever they are. It's all this sort of Roman Egyptian empire. They all work for them. And the sooner everybody realises it, the better. I don't know what we can do about these people, because I don't know who runs the news. Is it the news that's running everything, so they're the top, and that even the governments are below the news? Because the media make the news. They're not reporting on the news, they're making it for you to watch. So I'm not sure how this all works, because they're the ones that film the royal family and film the governments messing around with your mind, and it's pound, pound, pound. But anyway, we're going to the second part of the video. There are no enemies. There never was any enemies. We're not at war with anybody, and we never will be. And that's the truth. It's quite amazing, isn't it?
Putin rears his head and comes into the airspace of the United States of America. Where do they go? It's Alaska. It's just right over the border. It is from Alaska that we send those out to make sure that an eye is being kept on this very powerful nation, Russia, because they are right there. They are right next to our state.
Amy has joined me now for this part of the video. I put the whole thing together and then deleted these bits, and then when I went back, it was a mishmash of everything. I don't even understand what I did, and I've got to record bits again, and I'm with Amy.
Oh, hi, Karen.
So Amy's in the background, but she remembers me doing some of this stuff, so that's good. But basically, what it is this star map, which, actually, I'll just explain that bit, because this is what I explained. The bit that's missing. Amy won't mind listening to this bit, but on the star map there's a circle that goes round here, and basically what this is the Gleason map or the pizza map or whatever you want to think it is. I know it might even include these bits, but it doesn't. And what you have to remember is that parts of Malaysia and Australia, the Pitcairn Islands are down here, and most of South America are in the southern hemisphere, and that map, the pizza map, does not equate. That's a good word, isn't it, Amy? They doesn't equate with these countries. So this is why Gillian sees something so different out there. So if you were in the northern hemisphere, even though the stars are quite stretched out, Americans see the same stars as me, but they're much more stretched out. But then we're much tinier and they're much bigger, so I don't know if that's what it is. But Gillian has even jumped over to the globe a bit, hasn't she, Amy?
Oh, that's right.
But that's because flat earthers haven't listened to her, and because she feels it's so different down here. So I can't say, because obviously, I mean, it even looks here like if you put land in there, it's kind of starting to match up with Africa over here. But anyway, I'm still not sure if that's exactly the shape, but we're more like this because I'm going to show you in a moment again. But anyway, so Alaska, where are we? Isn't at the top of Canada. It sticks out here. And out here, 25 miles ahead of them, is land. So that is quite incredible in itself. But just explaining that the southern hemisphere is not included in that map, and we don't hear much from South Africa or South America or even the Pitcairn Islands, but we do hear from Gillian and other people over here in Australia. But this does not match in with this, and it wouldn't do, because you can just that really made it for me, Amy, when I realised that you know, it's okay if you're in the northern hemisphere, that pizza thing works, but it doesn't work for the southern hemisphere. And when you see the star map and you realise that the circle's in there, but you can see the countries which aren't inside it, that this is why it doesn't work. And you know, well, I made the video and now I'm having to do it again, so it might be a bit all over the place. But obviously with Alaska, where are we? Where are we? Here. Alaska's, or here it is, here is looking out this way, not up at the top of Canada. Oh, I don't know, it's all quite confusing really, but that was just my bit, is that maybe the land is much closer than you think it is, all this hidden land which we're not supposed to know anything about. It's much closer. But I was going to put the video back on because that was my point there. But when Amy knows, because I've made these videos quite a lot before, but it is just quite ironic that even if this isn't right, but the Union Jack fits on the top of this. So that is, I find that quite, because the other maps you can't, there's all these things which don't fit in, but in this map they do, because obviously the southern hemisphere is completely different to the northern hemisphere, but the Union Jack still fits in. So we're just waiting for that bit of video to clip over. Come on, where are you when you want the video to move on? But anyway, that's my my feeling, and I'm having to take this again, but I'm moving it along now. Here we go. Right, there you go. That Union Jack fits on the top of that. Fits on the top. So well, so well. Because if you understand, let's go back to this bit here again. So it goes down here, across there. Oh look, it's in the background. Let's just put it on a tiny bit more to make it look oh, it's too much now. We'll just do it on here. You can just about see the Union Jack. So in a minute or later on in another part of the video, I'm going to show you that Jamaica here, they have a crisscross flag, and they live on the crisscross, see? And this is why India belongs, or whatever it is, to the UK, because it's on the cross. We're on the cross, but we're on the cross that way. Looking at this map, you know, I'm going to show you now. I'm just moving it on because obviously I've made this video. And anyway, yeah, so we're getting to it now. Come on then, move along. So that's the Union Jack on top, which completely fits. Oh yeah, and that's the other bit just before we move on. Australia's one of the corners. Africa's one of the corners. South America's one of the corners, and there's the Pitcairn Islands, and we don't know what's in this bit here yet, do we?
Right.
things like that. So that's a bit strange. But anyway, this is what it kind of looks like when you look at the flags. So I'll just go over that quickly. It doesn't matter whether it's got lines like this or lines like this, because it's the Union Jack has lines, also crosses, but it's got lines in it, so it doesn't matter that it's a line. And then what it is they've got these little triangles here in the flags. I mean, I only picked a few of the flags, but it's got triangle in there. That is one of these triangles out of the Union Jack. And then you've got the ones with the lines across. There's another one there. That is because they live on the crisscross. Anything with a line going from corner to corner, or there's another one there. They live on the crisscross of that flag. It's disgusting, really, isn't it, Amy? It is.
Oh, it is.
They're on the cross. I think that's England there, but I don't know what that is. I think it is England, isn't it? I don't know anymore, because there's one there as well, and all these things have changed. But this one, this one, this one, and this one live on the cross. On the cross. So let's go back. Where are you? Union Jack, where are you? When you want it now. Yes. So the cross, crisscrosses, lines, triangles. It's all there in these flags. And of course there's a lot more flags with different ways on them, all to fit in. Doesn't matter, all these things. This fits into this, and that maritime law, and just about everything else. But we're going to move on in this video. Oh, Amy, what do you want to say? Anything? I'm going to cut Amy off.
Oh, that's okay. You explained it really well.
Really?
Yes, that's really good how you worked all that out.
I haven't seen anything else where you can have a northern and southern hemisphere, and that everything's going to be so different. Because if it is sort of, we could be something in something else, but if it is laid out a bit like this is why Gillian's seeing stuff so differently to us. And then you know, something else I found really weird was that for them to have their summer, the sun has to be really low, and for us to have our summer here, the sun has to be really high. So it has to be, it'll be low here and here and here and down here for the summers, and it'll be high in the northern hemisphere for the summers.
Yeah,
it's all just crazy. But if you think she's more on the edge, but you know, I'm just, with this video, I'm saying that maybe there's other land, you know, that's what it's about. But Amy, so carry on.
Oh, yeah, well, that's a really good point. And it's just amazing how those countries fit in to the Union Jack. It's
yeah, once
really
it clicks in your brain that this is what you're looking at, it's so easy.
Yeah, it is.
See, even that one there's got 4 boxes on it, but that's got 4 boxes on it. So it depends where it is, which territory, where it is in the world. I don't know everything. I'm just saying that this is what I've spotted. Anything else, Amy?
No, that's all. Great job, Karen.
Hi, everybody. I just wanted to put this picture back in. Do you see where the horizon is behind the building? And look at the reflection in the building from up there. It's the same as the one behind, which means it's flat. Just wanted to put that in. You know what they do to us all the time? Well, I can see, look, you can see the reflection in the glass. It's the same as the one behind. So it's flat, isn't it? It's not like the other one's much further down, is it? And disappearing. It just goes on and on and out and out and out, just like the other one. Anyway, I was looking at this map here because I wanted to try and work something out. It's to do with Jin. He took a flight from Japan, and it took him 11 hours, something like that. And if I went from England, it would take me the same. But you can see on the flat map that he's 5,355 miles away, and I am, wait for it to click over because I've done a bit of a recording, I'm 5,245 miles away. But when you actually look at the map they give you for all the plane flights, he's twice as far away from California as they're saying he is. So I thought that was really strange. There you go, there's a flat map. There's the UK and there's Japan. So in that sense, he's twice as far away. but in reality it would take him just as much time as it would me. So I was going to look into that today, although I think I'm going to try and mess around with a map later on. But what it was is it brought up for me this trip that I took to Belgium. So I took off from Southend on Sea. I found this pace calculator. I just wanted to know the speed that we'd have to go. So 342 miles. It took about 40 minutes. We'd have to be going over 500 miles an hour. And I just don't think we did in that little propeller plane. And we made up this journey and I just didn't get it. Because how can we make up over half the journey? Anyway, this is the plane. It was a propeller plane, but it's still a jet engine plane. Yeah, that's the plane I went on. Still quite a small plane. It wasn't as big as a 707 or one of those. It was a little bit smaller, and you know, when you banged it, I remember thinking, oh, it's not very thick, is it? You know, like the other planes, maybe because they have to go higher. This plane won't go as high. But anyway, that's the plane we went on. And I'm going to tell you my little story about going there. I was a bit shocked at the time. Anyway, we took off. And then as we're leaving England, England has brown fields. Because we've had a summer. So they've all been... oh, that made me laugh, that did. When you take a picture of a propeller, it always looks like it's going... It just doesn't look right. And you think, well, if that was happening, I want to get off. I want to get off the plane, but you can't, and it doesn't happen. But that's what it looks like in your pictures. It's funny, that is. So on the original video, I'm laughing my head off because, you know, because obviously this happened a few years ago, but when I saw, like, the blades, it just made me laugh. But anyway, as you can see, the fields are all brown, and you can see on as far as you can see. Yes, as we're leaving the UK. Flat, flat, flat. Anyway, just waiting for the video to move on because I'm laughing my head off on the video about those blades. But anyway, a lot of the fields were brown. This is me now flying over England or leaving England. And that's the height that we flew at. So it's like being in a Zeppelin flight. I don't think we went much higher than that. And we were travelling. It didn't feel any different than being in another flight. But yeah, there we go. But of course, it's not really doing that. It just looks like that in the video for some reason. It's how the camera picks it up. But it looks a bit pathetic, doesn't it? Anyway, yeah. So these are some of the pictures of my journey. I think this is us. We go up over England a bit and then we go out. So that's what I was showing there. So now we're leaving England. Me on the aeroplane. And then, yeah, clouds, clouds. The blue sky and the blue water. And that's the trip I was making from London Stansted, Southend rather, to Belguim, which is there, which is in North Belgium. So Southend to Belguim. Just notice how green it is compared to England. How green it is compared to England. And what it was is that we worked out that it was 300 and something miles. So we're coming in. We are beginning to get lower in the sky now. But I just, at the time, this is where I realised how low the clouds were. I was like, just look at the height of the clouds. Just because, you know, they always try to pretend that the clouds are a good distance up in the sky, and they're not. Just look how low those clouds are. I'm not sure if they're making the clouds lower or what, they want us living in fog, do they? Because that's what would happen if the clouds came down. But anyway, I just couldn't get over how low the clouds were that day. I was like, wow. Because, you know, sometimes you think, oh, they look low, and then you forget it, and then you're on your plane trip. I'm usually with my daughter, but this one I was on my own, and I was just like, wow, out the window, just look how low those clouds are. And what it was is, the reason I put this video in is that as we're landing, the stewardess says something else to us. She tells us that we've made up a part of the journey, and I'm like, what? So I knew that it was about 300 and something miles. We did in 40 minutes. How can that be? It's 300 and something miles. The ticket says an hour and 10 minutes. But we didn't do it in an hour and 10 minutes. It took us 40 minutes. So we lost, like, what's that? That's 40, that's the, so we might have done it in 35 minutes, 40 minutes, 300 and something miles. You can see the plane is not going that fast, and we are coming into land now. We are not doing over 500 miles an hour, are we? So I thought that was very strange, how we could have got up there in 35 minutes when it's 342 miles away. I don't know if I can explain that. I just thought, what? Well, that doesn't make any sense, does it? Anyway, we're coming to the end of this little bit of video, and what it is that I've left the stewardess saying, I just hope you can hear it, because obviously I made this video years ago, but hopefully you can hear her talking and saying what she's got to say. But I just wanted to say, me and Amy did a lot of research on this last night. I kept Amy on the phone for hours making this video. So I'd like to say thank you very much to her for all the time and effort that she spent with me, grueling through photographs to see what we're seeing. So thank you, Amy, my darling. But so we're just coming up now. This video is just finishing because obviously we're landing. That's what they told me it would take, an hour and 20 minutes. But it didn't. It take 35 minutes off an hour and 20 minutes. That's how long it took. So we've landed now. And in a moment, she's going to say, "Welcome to Belgium. Everybody sit with their seatbelts." And then she says basically that we've made up half an hour. But when I was leaving the plane itself, she said that it was longer than that. She said, no, I've revised my figure. It's more like 40 minutes early we've done it. And you know, like when how can we make up half the journey? How does that happen? How can we make up 5 minutes? Yeah, even with headwinds, yeah, I can get that. But on such a short time in the air, hour and 20 minutes, we've made up 35 minutes, 40 minutes of it. Incredible. Anyway, let's her talk.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Groningen. The local time is 9:30 and we have arrived 30 minutes ahead of schedule.
Well, we may as well throw this map into the mix as well. It's the Disneyland mix. We've made up half an hour, but when I was leaving the plane itself, she said that it was longer than that. She said, no, I've revised my figure. It's more like 40 minutes early we've done it. And you know, like when how can we make up half the journey? How does that happen? How can we make up 5 minutes? Yeah, even with headwinds, yeah, I can get that. But on such a short time in the air, hour and 20 minutes, we've made up 35 minutes, 40 minutes of it. Incredible. Anyway, let's her talk.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Groningen. The local time is 9:30 and we have arrived 30 minutes ahead of schedule.
Well,
nobody we talked with here feels threatened with Russia being about the same distance from them as the White House is from the U.S. Capitol. The Palin campaign defends the way the governor deals with this foreign policy issue.
Her experience as CEO of this state is unlike many others.
Well, there you go. We've just watched that bit of video there with them, and I'm changing the gear a bit. No one lives on the Big Island. They said they evacuated everybody in the Second World War and they were sent back to Russia, and then these people were sort of left there, and then at the end it was decided, well, you know, where do you know, anyway, these ones became American. And there's this little town there, and these people know they've got Russian descendants. They look very Eskimo-like, these people, and living here is pretty damn bleak, I should think, but they love it. There's maybe, I'm not quite sure, they give different sort of numbers, but about 100, 150 people live on there. And yeah, across the water a couple of miles away is that island. And then it's most bizarre because the dateline, so the island on the left is a day ahead of this island on the right. What a strange way to break or put the dateline in, you know, the timeline in. So this one is in a different day to that one, even though they can see this island from their town. There's no roads there. I mean, in a couple of the videos they said they've got no television, they've got no telephones, but they were watching computer games, and they do have some kind of phone, because it's most bizarre because the dateline, so the island on the left is a day ahead of this island on the right. What a strange way to break or put the dateline in, you know, the timeline in. So this one is in a different day to that one, even though they can see this island from their town. There's no roads there. I mean, in a couple of the videos they said they've got no television, they've got no telephones, but they were watching computer games, and they do have some kind of phone because I filmed it. But they said that they didn't have all these things, and yeah, and then basically a helicopter, that's a helicopter pad just there, and the helicopter comes in and drops the stuff off. And in the winter, when this is all iced up, which we'll show a few pictures later on, they can, as long as it's thick enough, they can land right there on the ice and drop the stuff off that way. But they're saying because of the island, because the weather changes all the time, and so you could say, okay, then the plane's coming in with, say, a member of my family next Tuesday, and then it doesn't happen because the weather's so bad. But anyway, that's as far away as the island is. It's that far away. Because that video lied. It told that little girl it was right outside the window, as if it's right on top of them, and it's not. It's that far away. So that was a lie, wasn't it? So that's a lie. There you go. That's the picture they're showing you in the schoolroom, that it's that close to them. And that's not true. It's not that close. So why would they bother doing that? They lie. They just lie. There you go. It's not that close. It's that far away. Do you see what I mean? It's just pathetic, isn't it? So I noticed that. There's the island with the house. They're all built on wooden stilts, a bit like those houses were on the top of that gorge with the mine in Canada. Obviously it's for in case it floods a bit, I suppose, and they're a little bit higher out of the sea, but you know, I've been watching tsunamis coming in. If they come in, you don't have a hope in hell. It just takes whatever it's going to take. It destroys everything in its path. So if the water rose, then it's not really going to save them. But it is an American country. It's part of Alaska. It's very, very, obviously miles away from Alaska, but in that province. And in the winter, this is what it looks like. So they can land on the ice. Look at that. Would you like to live there? Oh, in winter. Look how cold it looks. I don't think it's probably that hot in the summer either. But it's definitely icy, isn't it? And snowy. I just don't think I could live there. But they can land planes on the ice at this time of the year. There you go. I suppose it's beautiful and white. These people live off the animals in the sea, you know, whatever there is, walruses, whales. And they do actually go and get wild vegetables from up on that mountain. There's certain things like wild cabbage and certain plants they can use for food. But there are no trees on this island, none. And there isn't on the other one either. Look at that. Oh, would you like to live there in winter? I don't think so. But I just was very intrigued by this place. It made me go and have a look at it quite a lot. So there you go. Russia's in front of them, an island. And then 25 miles behind that is Russia. And 25 miles from them is Alaska. And that means 25 and 25 is 50. And then there's basically nearly 2 miles between the islands. So that means that that's only 52 miles between Alaska and mainland Alaska and mainland Russia. There's only 50 miles. So that's not very much, is it? There you go. And they're saying that bit in the background is Russia. And what it is this person in here says, I'm going to put the words up in a minute. I'll wait for the words. It's probably better if I just use the words. But anyway, look at that. I mean, it does look quite beautiful in a way. I think this woman said, I was listening to her, she said, it's 20% paradise, but it is a little bit hard to live there. So it's not all heaven living there, because obviously, you know, it's cold a lot of the time. And they've got to go out and get food from the freezers, or it's cold, whatever they do. But anyway, there's the date line right down the middle. So the left island is Russian, the right one is American. Yeah. And there you go, 25 miles to America, 25 to Russia, 2 between them. That's only 52 miles. I thought they said it was 60 odd miles, but it can't be. That one says it's 52. 52 miles between Alaska and America. There it is, the little island stuck in the middle. So yeah, that's giving the times. I just got a bit intrigued. And the word, the name of the island, Diomede, is from Greek, and it means Zeus. What was that again? I mean, was about to say it, and then I suddenly went out of my mind as the picture clicked off. Come on! There, Zeus planned. That's what that island means. Zeus planned. Anyway, they're saying there's 118 inhabitants living in that little village. And it's 2 miles between. It's 52 miles. I don't know why they just didn't kill each other off there. That's how much they spend on the postal. $300,000 a year to bring those planes out to this island. They come once a week, I think it is. And yeah, I was looking at the other island. See, it says no native population. It looks like a tree, doesn't it? Like someone's sawn a piece of wood and you're going to put this on the fire. That's what it looks like at this point. But the picture changes halfway through, so it's a bit weird, really. So that's the island next to them. So they're saying that is Alaska in that direction. And then when they pan the camera around, which they're going to do now, when the camera is panned round, obviously they're going to be looking at the bigger island. But then they're saying behind that, there you go, you can see Russia. Looks much higher then, doesn't it, to Alaska. Says it's near the Arctic Circle. Look at that cloud. Just look how low that cloud is. on the mountain. Says in 1948 the Soviets moved the residents of Big Diomede to the mainland Russia, and those on Little Diomede remained as part of America. And then it carries on. And then he said they were always battling with what's going on. People that try to go across, they get denied. I watched some videos of people helicoptering over there and being nicely greeted with the Russians. Oh yes, we've gone through immigration on this little tiny airport. I don't believe it. I don't believe it. Anyway, he's got a phone there of some kind. They're saying they haven't got telephones there, but they've got some kind of communication because they're using like phones. They said that they did it through not walkie-talkies, but because obviously that's walkie-talkies, but they did it through these other little sets they had. But they obviously are doing it a different way now. There's a bit more about it there. If you sailed on a boat, it would take you 17 hours to get there. That's how far out in the sea it is. Yes. Look at those islands. Some of those, they're in the map, but they're not really. Anyway, what I decided to do was, I decided to just have a look around the outside of this map. Well, I looked all over it because there's supposed to be a plane on there, but I couldn't find the plane. But a lot of people are saying that they mask things out. Anyway, so this is supposed to be some military, that's a military base, a small one. The Russians are there with this military base, but it doesn't look very busy there, does it? And basically, I went round the edge of the island. I saw that. I don't know what that is. Is that a helicopter pad or whatever that is? And I went round the island, and I just couldn't find anything to say people had ever lived there. Don't forget, they only went in the Second World War. That's all. The Second World War. But I didn't find any houses like on the other island where those people live. I don't see any. So we're going around the edge of the island to see whether they made houses or compounds, and I didn't see any. A couple of places I thought, well, there could have been buildings there, I suppose, shapes on the ground, but no buildings there, and they'd just been left there. See, there are no buildings. There, that bit there was a bit square. Anyway, but no buildings. I found no buildings whatsoever. So I still didn't find out about Jin's flight, but it made me go and look this place up. Oh, is that a little place just there? We'll just go back there a minute. Go back to, as we come round the top, just going to see, was there a building, another building there? Not there. Where are we? Somewhere in here. Oh, it's just a bit of snow. I thought it was a building, but it's just showing snow. But yeah, back to that one. And you can clearly see those buildings. So all the local people would have to live there. And there wouldn't have been many of them because there's only 1, 2, 3, 4, maybe 4 or 5 buildings there. And there's a lot more on the other island. So where did the people live? So I don't get that either. Personally, I like to sort things out in my mind and work it all out. I have no idea how we could make up half the journey to somewhere their advertising takes 1 hour and 10 minutes to get there. I don't know how we made up that time. We were not flying. We weren't battling the wind. I didn't feel, oh, we're being pushed by the wind. You know, I don't understand. And we would have to be doing 500 and something miles an hour. But we managed to get there in such a short period of time. Yes, on this map, I could see how Jin over here would get to California quite quickly. And how it would be the same as me. I can see that. But I don't think these, you know, this isn't right. Africa's not big enough, Russia's not big enough, and although Australia's bigger, it looks bigger than America, when actually it's about the same size as America. So I don't understand all that, because it still doesn't add up. And why is Antarctica down there like that then? But anyway, and what's your thoughts on these islands? That one's American, one's Russian, the date line, the timeline goes right down between these two islands, and these are American ones, and they can't go to Russia, and all that. What's your thoughts to that? When looking things up, well, this one was on Facebook. Look, the swastika is all those religions. The swastika is part of all those religions. And as it's been poo-pooed because of the Germans, what do you think that means then? Look, Celts, Christian, all of them, look. Even Hopi. Jewish, Japanese, Aztec. Look at them all. Just look at them all. Anyway, we're moving on. I thought that was a bit crazy. And then, well, it is, isn't it? There's this map. Right. You know me, the other day I brought up my map. And what I was saying was, it was kind of like a butterfly or a turtle, I said. And this might not be quite right, because, you know, you always have to remember how the light comes in. England is only 4 hours from Brazil, and it goes on, but it's something more like this. Then comes this map. It says it was used by the Royal Air Force in 1961. And there it is, a butterfly. Yeah, I had Australia here, I had Africa here, I had South America here, and that put Alaska up there. But they've got it like this, and when you look at this, obviously the Queen owns the Pitcairn Islands, and there's some land missing, isn't there? Well, maybe it really is missing, sunk, or they're not telling us that there's land here. Could be over here a bit more. Yeah, well, the Queen, the Queen, the Queen, and the Queen. And that leads me on to the next bit, which we'll see in a minute. I mean, yeah, Russia doesn't look so big there. Anyway, so the next bit was, this is how they make the Union Jack up. Do you see what I mean? British, 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 and there's got to be whatever it is there. Do you see how the Union Jack is made? With all the countries that are owned. And, you know, Jamaica, let's have a look. When we go back, this says. Right. Let's go back. I want the map. I want the map. Come on, map. Where's Jamaica? I suppose that Jamaica would be in that lot there. And what it is it's on a cross. Look, I'll show you. They are on the crisscross. And there's the crisscross from the Union Jack. Yes, it's a different colour. Still almost, you know, it's a part of that flag. Yes. Anyway, it has to be like that, because I already know England's lying on its side and it pushes everything else round. So, you know, it could be that map. And then, of course, those are the Pitcairn Islands that the Queen owns. I mean, they are quite a long way away. I mean, I think it's about 5 days in a boat. I think you can fly there, but the Queen owns them. And they're on, well, they're in, Christian said it's like a 4-leaf of clover, butterfly. Yeah. Anyway, not that many people live there. They came off one of the old ships. But then it leads, oh, wait a minute, we're going to stop here. Then it leads me on to this place. So anyway, so the Queen owns the Pitcairn Islands. So there you go on that one. Part of the butterfly thing, or whatever it is, Union Jack. And then we come to this place. It's now a ghost town. It's called Villa, whatever that is, however you say it. whatever it is, sorry. Anyway, there it is. Now, supposedly, the dam broke, the water came in. This has been underwater for about 25 years, and then the water started to recede, right? Do you notice something that's wrong though? I'll give you 5 seconds to see what's wrong. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All these buildings are brick. All of them. And these are wood. And all the wooden poles are up and all the brick buildings are down. Now they said it was a dam. Was it a cold fusion weapon and then they were flooded? Oh, who knows? Because there is a man that lives there and he doesn't see it that way. He sees the water came in. He doesn't see that anything was destroyed like that. He thinks it's the water that's done it. But on the other hand, how could all these be there? I'm sorry. The wooden, if all the buildings have collapsed due to everything, the poles aren't going to, wooden poles are not going to stay up, are they? Anyway, and the other thing, which I've got stuck into a few things lately, it's mines and the towns have gone, or we're talking of a brine water, a salty sea, you know, like the Dead Sea. This was the same, just like at the Salton Sea in California, and then of course that town is destroyed. When you see some of the trees, it looks like this place has been poisoned as well, but it could be that the water's so salty that that's what's happened to anything around. Any erosion on it is due to the really salty water. But again, it's another saltwater town destroyed. This one is Argentina. So you can read any of that if you want. I'm just like, oh, for God's sake. These things aren't being destroyed because they've been in wars. They've just been destroyed. There you go. Compared to the Dead Sea. So this was another, you know, replenishing place. Wow, just absolutely wow. Didn't go that long ago either. You know, we think that all these things are totally in our past. They're not. Anyway, yeah, you can read that. I think I've left that on there long enough. Yeah, we're moving on now. Okay, that's kind of stayed, but the tree stayed, but all the buildings have collapsed one way or another. Which just crazy. Come on. Come on. It's all crazy. So it's not just America or Scotland that have lost towns. This is Argentina. And we did that place next to... Was that on the Black Sea? Next to Georgia, under Russia. That place. That was in my video the other day. Here he is. He said it had healing qualities. And the tourists brought their horses from racecourses to cure them. They obviously didn't like the people healing themselves, did they? That's what this is about. They didn't want the people healing themselves. There was once water here where the salt is. So I think he just means there was salty water. They don't want the people to heal themselves. That's what it is. You know, this resort would get the money because they've got the salty water. Oh no, now you've got to buy medication. I can't quite work out how big it was. But there was a place people went. We didn't think it would be too bad. we thought the dam would hold and the lake would recede. But it didn't for 20 odd years. And then all the buildings are destroyed. I mean, I don't think it's on a sea, I think it's on a lake. But the dam broke. But I mean, look, there's the poles up. That's just impossible. There's no buildings. All the buildings are collapsed. But the poles are up. That cannot be. It cannot be. You cannot have that. That has been destroyed. You know, we've seen this before. How is the wood up and the buildings down? That is... Come on, everybody. That's crazy. Anyway, that's my video. I'm just going to add a little bit about the Salton Sea, because that was another place that's been destroyed. But thanks for watching. Down bus in the mud. That's bizarre, isn't it?
It is.
1 second, Amy, as I move around. Yeah, it almost looks like we're in another place altogether.
Yes.
It doesn't even look that nice. I don't imagine that. I thought California had places like this in it.
I know. I wouldn't have thought either. I think I was reading that they even use these places to film horror movies and stuff, like about
Yeah, I'm
the
not
apocalypse.
surprised, Amy.
I know.
1 second, Amy. I'm just going to do this picture to show them this one. It says Bombay Beach is a resort that went broke. There was no attempt to remediate the homes that went bust, and a few people still live there. It sits on the receding, obviously, it's getting smaller and smaller, the water, isn't it? That's what's happening. Did you know that, Amy?
No, I didn't know it. No, not till today when we were making this. I never even knew about it.
No, neither did I. Should we have a look at the video? There's a video to this. We're going to look at it. Hang on. Well, Amy and I were looking this up because it's just so bizarre to think that, you know, this place is vacated. Amy, explain what you were just telling me.
Yes, I was saying that people who go visit there, the smell is overwhelming. They can't stand it because of the like rotting marine life, and I think even something to do with the salinity, the salt in the water. There's just a really bad smell. So that would contribute to the reason why it's abandoned, because the smell is horrible.
It's really weird. We get the Dead Sea, and that's very salty. No one complains of the smell. Everybody carries on. You've kind of got like the Dead Sea here. Everybody's complaining. Everybody's left, and it just looks like... And now I've made quite a long video of a video I made today, and I just couldn't help it. There was bits from the past, and then that had more bits in it, and I was like, oh look at that picture, oh look at that bit I said there, or oh look what they said. So it all kind of got added in, but it was really about the land. We don't really know that much, do we? And things could be a lot closer than we think they are. I think that was my point. Well, we're having a double ending on this video, Amy, because I already ended it, but you weren't there then, and now you've helped me put this whole video together. But we did want to say one more thing. You know, if it's that close, okay, it's a little bit further to actually go to mainland Alaska, but if it's that close, why don't they fly that way? Why is it anybody, you know, in America, why don't you just fly over that way? We don't, we go the other way. You go the other way, rather. All the flights match into... Somehow, you've always got to be coming to England or Paris or Germany, and that's where you get a connecting flight, usually for these long flights, off to Australia or wherever else you've got to go. Don't you think that's really weird?
I do.
Why don't they just fly that way?
Yeah,
Left.
You would think that's how they would do it. No?
And they fly this way. And I saw on one video or something that this is quite, even though it's going up to Alaska, it's called Hawaiian something, but the people on that island actually look quite Hawaiian.
Yeah.
Or Eskimo.
Yeah, Eskimos. I guess they do look a lot like the Hawaiian people.
Yeah, anyway, Amy, we're finishing. Is there anything else you want to say as we're finishing?
Oh, it's just been very interesting looking at all this.
Oh, thank you, Amy. Yeah.
Biscuit blues.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would love to know the real truth.
Me too.
But thank you for helping me with our truth, Amy. Our
You're
truths.
welcome, Karen. Oh.
Thank you, Amy. Love you lots.
You're welcome. Love you lots too.